Canadian Armed Forces?
My name's Frank Moses. I joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 1981.
What trade and element were you?
I was in the infantry, the land forces. I served with the Royal Canadian Regiment, the Canadian Airborne Regiment, and Canadian Special Operations Forces Command.
Did you start in the Airborne Regiment, or did you start as RCR?
Oh, I started as an RCR. I started as an RCR. I started actually as a Hastings and Prince Edward Regiment soldier for 1 year in Belleville, Ontario, and I loved it so much I joined the Reg Force, and I was an RCR for 23 years before I retired the first time.
Okay. And within that, you went to 3 Commando?
Yeah, within that I served 4 years with 3 Commando from 1990 to 1994.
Right on. Were you ever deployed, and if so, where and when, and what was your job? What did you do overseas?
Yeah, I was, the first time I deployed was in 1983. I was deployed to Cyprus as part of the United Nations force there. And there I was a platoon driver, and I also served on the observation post. The second time was in Somalia with the Airborne Regiment, and we were sent there to assist the UN and a global coalition effort to bring peace to a region that had been in strife for well over a decade. The third time I was in Croatia, 1994 to 1995, and there I served as part of the UN again, and that was to maintain the peace, the fragile peace that existed between the Serbs and the Croats at that time. The fourth time I deployed was in Bosnia, and there we were part of a NATO force, and we were there to enforce the Dayton Accord to bring final peace to the region. I was serving there in Dvar, Bosnia. And the fifth time was 2004. We were sent to Haiti to bring stabilization to the area after a coup, and I was working as a duty officer at the international headquarters.
What made you want to join the Canadian Armed Forces?
I joined the Canadian Armed Forces because I was always an outdoorsy young lad. I was a bit of a loner as a young boy, and I took a lot of pleasure in hunting, snowshoeing, skiing. Loved packing my gear and reading stories by guys like Jim Kilgard and Jack London and Farley Mowat. I love that whole scene of the Canadian North, of the facing adversity, and I love stories of people alone facing challenges. And I was lucky enough to visit the North even while I was serving with the Airborne Regiment and with the RCRs as well. I was really taken by the idea of the frontier, and the Army seemed to be the perfect place to do that sort of thing.
For sure. What was the highlight of your career?
The highlight of my career would be my service in the Airborne Regiment. I served there as a Master Corporal and a Sergeant, and they were the good times. That's when I got the really good courses, when I got the jumping in, going all over the world, down working with the Marines in the States, working with the Rangers down in Fort Benning. It was just a wonderful time, and I was young enough and fit enough to really enjoy the challenges.
When did you leave the forces and why?
I left the forces twice. The first time I left was in 2004. I was serving in Haiti, as I said, as a duty officer, and it was just kind of a dysfunctional place to work for me. I was a lieutenant at the time, having just commissioned from the ranks, and after being a warrant officer and going to lieutenant, it was a bit of a culture shock for me, being at the bottom of a pile of yet another, escalating sort of leadership pile. And I wasn't enjoying the service there, but because I had PTSD, I really was affected by my service in Haiti. I was angry, I was lost, and I made the decision to get out and move to Germany. And that I did, moved to Germany for 4 years. And I taught English, of all things. And then I came back to Canada and rejoined the military. I rejoined the Ceremonial Guard for 9 months, and then I was lucky enough to get picked up by Canadian Special Operations Forces Command to serve with them in an operational sort of headquarters role.
How do you feel about your time in the Canadian Armed Forces?
I wouldn't trade it for anything. I was a bit of a loner as a young man, and the Armed Forces really brought out the best in me. I mean, the adversarial nature of you facing your fears, facing the challenges, facing cold, hunger, tired, mud, wet, winter, snowshoeing, all that sort of stuff that I used to read about as a kid. I did it. It was super challenging and rewarding as heck. It was really, really good.
So when you say that, you know, being kind of a loner as a kid and all those things, and I was exactly the same. You know, I took up archery, went hiking and camping by myself. You know, a lot of my friends didn't want to go live in the woods for the night. You know, not without creature comforts. And the thing I think I found with that Canadian Forces culture was I was surrounded by people like me.
Yes.
Like they wanted to push themselves, and so you know, I didn't have to quite be the loner I was. You know, you found a family there. I found.
Yeah, that's it's the thing I found. It's you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people from diverse backgrounds in the armed forces, but they're all kind of searching for one thing, and that's a sense of belonging and a sense of challenge. And it's definitely the place to find it.
Oh yeah. Everything about it will challenge you.
Yes, yeah.
Good and bad.
Not like the TV, but
Yeah.